So much, Sunil. Welcome, everyone. This is day 9, as Sunil mentioned. Wow, 8 days over, and we have learned a lot of concepts. And Sunil just beautifully explained about the Sagar Manthan, which we discussed yesterday. But just take two concepts from there, right? One, the Mount Manthara, which is concentration, which Sunil was talking about. And also the tortoise, right? How do we achieve that? The concentration can waver, as Sunil mentioned. So how do we have an upright, steady concentration? By withdrawing our senses. And how do we do that? That is by being with our breath. So that is exactly what we want to do right now. We can discuss all of this, but the key thing about APS is the practice part. Let's practice. Again, one more key thing which I want to mention before we start is the acceptance. So we talked about the now a couple of days ago. So we are in the present moment, right? When we are in the present moment, there might be disturbances. There might be, you might not like the volume of the music. There could be external disturbances, but please do not worry about those things. Please do not energize those. Let's just come back to the normal breath. Let's be in the present moment. As we learned, let's try to accept things as they are. That's always a choice. Again, thank you for all the people who have kept their cameras on. It's so nice to see all the loving, beautiful faces. So with this, let's start the meditation for today. We all know the procedure. We have been doing it for 8 days. All the people who have their spectacles, please remove that. So the first thing is to be absolutely comfortable. So let's sit comfortably. Clasp your hands. Cross your legs. Cross your feet if you are sitting on a chair. And the most important thing, friends, close your eyes. Let's be absolutely comfortable. Let's drop all the expectations. Drop all the mental burdens. Everything can wait. This is our time, and we are choosing to meditate. Allow your body to relax. Become aware of your body. See if there is any tension anywhere. Forehead, eyes, shoulders, knees. Scan the whole body. It's absolutely okay to take time. Let's be absolutely, completely relaxed. Slowly bring awareness to your normal, natural breath. We know that our body is breathing. We are not breathing. Inhalation, exhalation, just be with the breath. Anapanasati. Breath is happening on its own. Drop all the doing. Absolutely effortless. Drop everything. Just be the observer. We are not trying to achieve anything. No visualization, no thoughts. Absolutely relaxed. Just be with the breath. Just feel your normal, natural breath. If thoughts come, just come back to breath. Don't fight, just come back to breath. Please don't go with the thoughts. Come back to your normal, natural breath. Continue being with your breath, dear friends. Normal, natural, easy flow of breath. Last 10 minutes. Slowly come back, dear friends. Please bring your awareness to your body. Take your time. When you're ready, unclasp your hands. Place the fingers on your eyes for 5 to 10 seconds. Open your eyes whenever you're ready. Thank you so much, dear friends. Thank you. Sagar sir is on. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Subbu. Good morning, dear friends.
Yes, so let's all please welcome Sagar sir, who is the managing trustee of Pyramid Valley, and he's also today's speaker. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Subbu. That was a wonderful meditation.
Thank you.
Dear friends, I hope the practice of meditation and the wisdom nuggets has been having a good impact on your daily lives. All of us have realized our own self, have realized our own joy through this practice of Anapanasati meditation. I'm sure all the newcomers here have realized a difference, have been noticing some difference between the first day and now. So today, I'm going to talk about, I think we've got into the week of mind. We're talking about mind, right, Subbu?
Yes, sir. Sorry,
Yes,
I was speaking on mute.
Yeah. Yes. So we're going to cover a bit about the mind, and then one important aspect of mind, ego, right? And then there are a lot of wonderful literature out there. So let me just share the screen. All right, I hope everyone is able to see this.
Yes, sir.
So before we dive into mind, I want to talk about what our yogic science or Upanishads talk about who we are, right? I mean, some of you might have heard about these panchakoshas, or the 5 sheets of existence. So each of us have these 5 layers, right? So beginning from the left, we are the physical body. We know we have a physical body, which is our tissues, bones, skin, muscles, all that you see, feel is what is our physical body. So no brainer there. And then there were some sessions earlier which talked about, I think, Prithvi and Shibu and what's her name? I forgot. Okay.
Yashaswini.
So, Yashaswini, yes. So they spoke about the energies, right? And everything is energy, we are energy body. So obviously behind the physical body, there is an energy system, which is the nadis and chakras. So each of us emanate a biomagnetic field. So that is the pranamaya kosha, or the energy body. And then we have the mind, which is the mental body, which is what we will get into from today. And then the 4th layer of existence is what we call as Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is the wisdom or the higher mind. Vijnanamaya, Jnana is knowledge, right? Vijnan is Vishesh Jnana. So that is something that we are born with. That is Vijnanamaya Kosha, wisdom or the higher mind. Some of us know it by intuition. We call it as inner voice. We call it as values, things like that. And then the ultimate sheath, the last sheath, is more about Anandamaya Kosha. We are bliss. And all this spiritual traditions, all spiritual practices are ultimately to make us realize. When we say we are self-realized, when I say I'm enlightened, then we know we are operating from our Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. But what prevents us being, so we are born with that. I mean, I keep calling that as a factory settings. Each of us are born with that factory settings of intelligence, love, compassion, resilience. We have our own innate healing power. So we are born with that. But unfortunately, we get drifted away from that because of our beliefs, because of our education, because of our thoughts, because of our fears, a lot of things. And all this come from the mind, which is the Manomaya Kosha, the one that you see in the middle. And it's all about going beyond the mind. So you'll have to, right from the physical body and energy body, we'll have to go beyond the mind to access our true intelligence, access our bliss within ourselves. And like Patriji says, Buddha means going beyond the buddhi, going beyond the mind. And that is what is on your right-hand side, right? So it's more about the accessing or being with the Vijnanamaya Kosha, being that bliss state. And what prevents that happening is the mind, right? And before I dive into mind, I want to kind of make a quick distinction between what is brain and what is mind. A lot of questions out there. So I come from an IT background. For most of us today, I'm sure all of you are using cell phones and computers. So this should be appealing to everyone. So brain is the hardware. That is our neural circuits, all the cells that are there in our head, right? So brain is the hardware and mind is the software. Mind is a collection of thoughts, emotions, feelings that drive you to do things, actions, right? So the mind is the software, brain is the hardware, and mind is more also the operating system. And that is how mind drives us to do what we do. Mind drives us to feel the way we feel. Mind drives us to think the way we think, right? So that is a distinction between the brain and the mind. And again, according to yogic science, the mind has 4 states. It's not necessarily 4 different components. It's unlike the hardware, right? Unlike the hardware where you can say, this is my prefrontal cortex, this is my left hemisphere, right hemisphere, and all that. Mind is not physical. So it is more, that is why we call it as, it's more spiritual, it's more subtle. It's also called a subtle body. So mind has 4 components. So one is, I'm sure all of you have heard about this one, right? Mano, Chitta, Buddhi, Ahamkara. There are 4 things. So manas is the manas, which is our sensory mind, which is pretty much takes all the sensations through the 5 senses, and thought is the 6th sense. So 5 senses and processes it. It gets inputs from the 5 different senses. And Buddhi is the intellect or higher mind, intuition. So there is an aspect of Vijnanamaya Kosha also aligned with Buddhi. And but most of the time when we talk about Buddhi or intellect, is more about the discriminating power. Is this good or bad? It is based on what we've learned. It's based on the beliefs that we have. And Chitta is a memory or storehouse of all impressions, that is consciousness. And Ahamkara is the ego, right? So translating into simpler words, this is how it is, right? Memory, Chitta, the memory or storehouse, is our database of all the things that we have learned in this lifetime and all the things that we carry from prior lifetimes. We call it as samskaras. And everything is stored, etched in the Chitta, etched in the memory as something, right? That is why sometimes you might see child prodigies, 7-year-old, 8-year-olds, probably they are absolutely talented, imbibed with talent. They are great singers, they are great performers, they are great orators. That is because they have the skill or they have this talent they learned in a past lifetime that came through those impressions as part of their consciousness. Similarly, that is a positive aspect. Similarly, a lot of us have some unexplained fears, right? Again, those fears come from the impressions from our past lifetimes, right? If they are not cleansed, if they are not cleared, then they come from the past lifetimes. So that is all stored in our Chitta. And then we have these 3 components called the sensory mind, which is all it's doing is, it's like the earphones or the speakers and your camera of the computer, right? So it basically gets all the data. It doesn't know what to do with the data. It just gets the data so that you know this is coming from nose, this is coming from sight, this is coming from ear, and this is coming from your taste buds, and this is coming from your touch. So that's all it does. And then there is this thinking and emotional mind, which attaches meaning to it, which is what actually looks at the database and says, oh, this is something that is fearful. And then there is this narrating mind, which is the chatterbox in your mind, right? Which always keep tap, tap, tap. Okay, this is not right. This is not good. Hey, you are not talking well. Am I being right? Am I being stupid? So all that commentary that comes in our mind or brain is because of this ego self or the narrating mind. Let me take an example. So young child, let's say 2 years or 3-year-old child, when it sees a dog, right? As soon as it sees a dog, it doesn't know what that animal is, right? So it sees a dog and then the dog barks. And that bark of a dog is first time heard by this, and then it is stored in the memory, in the mind of the infant, right? And it sees a dog as a 4-legged animal. It has a tail, it's wagging its tail, and everything is fine, right? And at that point of time, they have a real good emotional connect. It wants to catch the dog or maybe pet the dog. Right? Immediately, one of us, the parents, the intelligent parents, say, "Oh, be careful about the dog. Don't go near it; it will bite you." Right? Immediately, that memory is kind of etched in the infant's memory. Right? So that thing, okay, so I shouldn't touch a dog. If I touch a dog, it will bite me. And the way the parent communicates that emotion is also kind of carried into the consciousness of the child, right? And that is what it's etched. From then on, there is this thing. Okay, if I see a dog, I need to be aware from it. Where is that belief coming from? Because someone has taught that particular individual. So that is stored. So from that time, anytime you see a dog, the senses communicate, oh, this is a dog, and then your intellect matches that image with a dog, and then also adds this emotion of be careful, emotion of fear, right? And then the ego self or the narrating mind says, be careful, don't go near the dog, right? So that's a very simple explanation. That is how all situations, everything, all of our fears, all of our negative emotions comes from our learnings, from the past or from the present. And then how does meditation help? I mean, I just want to quickly cover that, right? So there are a lot of ways to clear these fears. You can clear it through your physical body, right? So I'm sure, I think Prithvi or Ashwini have covered that subject in terms of how stress causes illness in our physical body. You can clear it through different means. It could be through the right diet, right use of people today use a lot of chemicals to clear that stress, right? And then there are a lot of different techniques, including meditation, breath work, yoga, and a lot of stuff, right? So you can clear those. But what meditation does is cleanses that completely. There is a different multi-stage process of how meditation helps. So meditation first calms the mind and then cleanses those emotions. That is why you see there was a session on experiences as well. Sometimes when we do meditation, a lot of experiences that will develop. So meditation slowly, without you are aware, without you knowing, it clears a lot of those confusions, clears a lot of those impressions, karmic impressions that we have. So it deprograms it. And then with the very fact that it allows you to calm your mind, you're able to consciously exercise a lot of stuff. And if you look at it here, there is this conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The mano, buddhi, chitta, hankara always operate at the subconscious level. And more often than not, we act from subconscious mind rather than conscious mind. That is why we talk about mindfulness. Mindfulness is about being conscious about what we are doing. Then we are able to decide correctly, right? So meditation allows your subconscious mind to slow down so that you are able to clearly think, clearly respond, clearly react on what you want to do in your conscious moments. And I think there was a session on beta, alpha, theta, brainwave function. So that is what happens when the brain, in meditation, when the brain gets into the deeper states like theta, that is when all this cleansing of the subconscious memories, all this cleansing of chittas happen, right? And that is one of the biggest, unintended benefit of meditation. You don't need to do anything else, right? Just get into deep meditation, get into the theta and deltas, all those cleansings happen. And then you are a new person. Your behavior changes. You don't act from the past beliefs, past fears, right? So, and that's where I want to move to ego. One of the biggest things, as I said, ego is that narrating mind. It kind of mixes everything. The intellect presents says this is a dog in our example, this is a dog. But the intellect adds a lot of other stuff, and the ego says, okay, so there is this emotion that is being added, and this is what it is. So, what is this ego? Eckhart Tolle, in his wonderful book, The New Earth, talks about ego in a very fantastic manner. And in the interest of time, I'll kind of just quickly cover this. So there are 4 phases of ego. Number 1, ego is the one that gives us our self-identity. So we are that role that we play, right? We are the father, we are the mother, we are the kid, or we could be that role of a manager, a director, or a CEO, or a teacher in our professions, right? It gives us the ownership. But what ego also does is it makes sure we don't lose that identity, right? It protects us. It protects us in terms of ensuring we're always correct, or we think we're always correct. And that is where judgment creeps in. That's where superiority complex. Oh, I know better. That is an ego trait, right? And then, oh, that person spoke about it. What is he talking about, right? So all that is a narration of the ego. And likes and dislikes, I want this, I like this, I dislike this, all that is kind of, again, making sure it aligns with your mental pattern. And then it's also about someone accuses of you of something. Hey, Sai, what are you talking? I mean, you're not making sense. And immediately what happens? We start defending things, right? So ego also is that aspect of our body, or of our mind, which wants us to be in control. Which kind of keeps us away from fear, and that is through defending, right? And then we tend to be serious, maybe, I mean, in terms of not being very open, right? And all our pain patterns, right, in terms of doubt, regret, resentment, hate, all these are, again, the facets of ego, which makes sure that we are in control. It prevents our identity. It makes sure no one throws something at us, and then we kind of get disturbed, right? And so those are the phases of ego, and this could be to anything. And if you look at the middle of this picture, the content of ego could be anything about the body, about any things, any persons, ideas, or feelings. So, for example, some people, their content of ego is completely about their physical body, right? The way they look. They don't want someone to be thinking about or making a judgment about the way they look. So they completely are body focused. Or some people are very mindful of, okay, only if I have this title, only we have this position, only if I have this material thing, then I am respected. So that is more about the ego. The identity of ego is in that thing. Or it could be a person, right? I mean, I am this person of this position. Or it could be an idea. For example, I could get carried away saying that meditation is the best thing in the world, and anyone who talks something about meditation, I'll feel my ego will kind of surface and say, no, the meditation is the best thing, and you get into a lot of debate, right? And it will also be feeling. I need that feeling of security. I need that feeling of comfort. That comfort could come from anything. So what Eckhart Tolle says is the content of ego could change. If you're identified with body, you could be identified with a thing, you could be identified as a person. But ultimately, what ego does is it ensures that you are correct in that particular thing. You are protected from any external damage, or it ensures that that particular thing doesn't cause you harm. So one of the interesting things, why do we feel pain, is the concept of pain body. So what is pain body? We all know, we all have learned that we are energy, right? We're made of energy. Everything is energy, right? So this is a concept. Pain body is nothing but an energy form that lives within all humans. It's just an energy form. It thrives on negative thinking, and the only goal is to maintain the state of ego, right? So it feeds on a negativity. Anytime you are negative, that means your pain body is in action. And this is a wonderful concept. I'll give a short example. And we all know emotion is energy in motion, right? So pain body, anything, anywhere you are in a negative emotion, that means that pain body is in motion. Your negative energy is in motion. So this negative energy, you could see it as a separate self, right? So don't bother about this thing. So there's an interesting story I always keep telling, and this is about, you identify your, anytime you are negative, you're feeling negative, you're feeling angry, you're feeling doubtful, resentful, that means that energy body is involved. That is not you. That is that energy body. Right? In fact, around the time I read this concept in that book of Eckhart Tolle, that is when my younger daughter was, she was very young. At that time, she was so making a big fuss about wearing the right clothes. Anytime we had to step out, it used to be an hour convincing her to wear the right clothes. And she used to throw tantrums, she used to do all the thing. And because of that, we were getting delayed anywhere going out, right? So then after a time, she used to get convinced and do something, or either we get convinced, we go her way, or she goes her way, whatever it is, right? But that whole period of 1 hour where she is not herself, we used to tell her that, hey, it was not you, it was Surabhadra, right? So Surabhadra is a demon in each one of us, right? And then I'm sure there are a lot of terms out there. So then it's that, because they are, when that negative body, when the pain body activates, then that is where they are acting that way. Otherwise, they are not them. So we taught the kids from the young age that anytime they have fear, anytime they have they are not feeling good, that means the pain body, the Surabhadra, is in action, right? After a while, my daughter started using that on us. Anytime she makes all ruckus, then she comes back and says, "Daddy, it was not me, it was Surabhadra," right? So we are all that. I mean, we all are all acting that way. So Surabhadra is when ego is in full control of you. And the very fact that you know that it is not you gives you tremendous freedom, right? You dissociate that it's not me, then slowly, that is what mindfulness is. As meditation, and that negative energy, negative pain body calms down. And this is very key. In this slide, we talked about it. The pain body lies dormant inside of you, and it gets triggered into an active state when anything negative, anything that's going to cause harm to your ego. And that is when it flares up. And then it starts defending. Going back to that 4 facets, right? It starts making you judge. It starts making you feel superior. It starts, you get into a defense, right? So once your pain body has its complete fill, then it goes back to a dormant state. It's always dormant. So that is where mindfulness comes in. It's about being mindful to make sure, oh, that's not me. So let me calm down, right? So there are proven methods. Number 1 is first be aware that we all have a pain body. And pain body feeds our ego. And ego feeds the pain body. So that's a continuous cycle. And step 2 is you'll have to be fully present. When your pain body is action, you have to be aware that you are acting from that pain body. And then complete awareness completely stops, keeps things down, right? So again, and then never fight with your pain body. You never judge, oh my God, why is my ego like this? Why am I doing it? Just be a silent witness to it, and it will disappear on its own. I'm sure, I think Shibu covered this whole thing about present moment awareness, being in presence. That is about this. And you let go of what you need to do. Over time, just like anything that you don't use for a long time, the same thing is what is anything that you don't use for a long time disappears. Over time, ego dissolves. Over time, the pain body disappears, right? So again, I've applied this to my, especially when we talk about conscious parenting, definitely to my kids. All of you might have known, I mean, when they're watching a TV, you ask them to stop watching, and they don't immediately hand you the remote or immediately switch off, right? Be it an iPad, be it a TV, anything, they continue watching. And it takes a lot of yelling, a lot of shouting for us to kind of switch off. Or the moment you go switch off the TV, and then all hell breaks loose, right? I mean, all of you have been through that. So in those instances, or anytime when you ask them, hey, why are you not studying and things like that, I could clearly feel that moment I could realize that there's my pain body, right? And then whatever reaction comes from the kid, it also happened with my parents, right? It also happens with our parents, with our spouses, right? And anytime they react, we tend to react. And that mindfulness, that gap between the awareness of, oh, this person is reacting, I shouldn't react. The moment you are aware of it, and then you stay completely silent without judgment, over time that reduces. And then there are a lot of changes that happen in the other person and the other situation as well. You'll continue doing it. You'll feel that. And that happens through mindfulness, because heightened awareness through mindfulness. And that is again because I'm sure someone has covered this foundational principles of energy flow, right? Energy flows where attention goes. If your attention goes in terms of why me, why resentment, judgment, and all this stuff, that is continuously feeding your pain body. So we want to kind of direct attention away from our pain body, away from our ego. And anytime you resist, it persists. And resistance is again the aspect of ego. What you fight, you get more of. What you embrace dissolves, right? That's all more about the awareness part of it. So as Eckhart Tolle says, it's about creating from presence, not from ego, right? And then that requires heightened awareness, and that is one first aspect of mindfulness. As we continue to do the practice of meditation, we become more aware, and then that split second between our reaction to something where the pain body kicks in, right? If you're able to catch that and be in the presence, and everything is perfect, right? So this is a very powerful, very simple but effective concept of pain body. I've been following it, and then all of us, as we continue doing it, we will continue to be. We will continue to identify when the Surabhadra kicks in and when we are our own self. And that is what Patriji and all great masters have tried to do that. And that is what going beyond the mind, going beyond the ego, going beyond the mind, becoming a Buddha beyond the Buddhi is what all of us are striving for. So I hope that was helpful. So Shibu, I know it was probably a bit more over time, but I hope it was helpful.
Absolutely, sir. It was very, very helpful. I'm sure everyone agrees. And I think I'll transfer to Sunil for, Sunil, you might not have enough time for questions today, right?
Yes, Shibu. Thank you very much, sir. But I was just thinking today being a weekend, maybe we can take a couple of minutes extra. Sir, are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. So we have some questions coming up, but today onwards, we're also going to have the participants ask the questions by themselves. So in case you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, and we can unmute and you can ask the question straight away. So meantime, when people are raising their hands, we have one question by Taruni. How to empty the chitta? Yeah,
so I think Taruni has also raised her hand.
Okay.
Probably the same question.
It's the same question. You want to add more, Taruni? Can someone allow her to unmute?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. It's a nice class and enjoying totally. And I want to ask the same question, what I wrote.
Yes.
How to empty the chitta?
Yeah. Yes, and so obviously one technique is meditation, right? So meditation, as Patriji says, empties the mind. When you say empty the mind, it doesn't empty of the intelligence or skills that we learned. It's more about emptying that emotion. So cleansing the chitta, clearing the chitta happens through meditation. A lot of other practices. So most of the spiritual practices fall under these three things, right? One is they definitely calm the mind. Yeah, all of our breath work, yoga, exercise, everything calm the mind. Anything concentration calms the mind. And then advanced practices like meditation cleanses, and that is what clearing the chitta. Cleansing happens through advanced stages of meditation. As we saw, it's in the theta, when the brain gets into the theta and delta state, a lot of cleansing happens by itself. We don't need to do it. And then the third aspect is connecting to our intelligence, right? And that is what I said, connecting to our Vijnanamaya Kosha. Those are three key things that happen across all spiritual practices. Some of them happen, focus only on calming and a little bit of cleansing. Some of them go all the way to connecting. So the answer to your question is meditation helps clear our consciousness of, clear the chitta of all past samskaras, as well as any current emotional baggage that we carry.
Thank you, sir. So we have Ramesh raised his hand. I'll just ask. Yeah.
See, I have sent my question. You can as well read it.
Namaste, sir. How are you?
Namaste. I'm very fine. See, I have this question, which is a basic doubt, because when I want to teach it to a group of people or some people, these questions are happening. That is, see, this Anapanasati meditation is a state of mind when there are no thoughts. That is what we have understood and we follow it. So during when we sit for Anapanasati meditation, we have thoughts also coming and we are rejecting them and again observing the breath. So that period doesn't count in this Anapanasati meditation, or that is only pre-meditation stage?
No, sir. So when we say Anapanasati, is about awareness of our in-breath and out-breath, right? So it's mindfulness. When we are feeling the breath, initially we are aware of the thought. That is also part of Anapanasati. There are 4 stages to Anapanasati, right? So initial stages, we're trying to develop concentration, right? So the initial stage of developing concentration is when we're focusing on the breath, we get thoughts. Focusing on the breath, we cut the thoughts. This is also part of meditation, right? And then deeper stages of meditation is when slowly the thoughts reduce, right? And then you're not aware of the thoughts, and then you're focusing more on the breath, right? And then after a while, advanced stages of meditation, you will even lose track of being aware of the breath, right? That's that emptiness, that's the shunya that we get into. So all these are multiple stages of meditation. It's not like preparatory. You have to get into meditation. It's like getting into meditation.
And see, one small thing, see, during this, that meditation, lot of thoughts come, they are all positive thoughts, and see, some of them, they throw out, solutions to some of our very difficult problems also. So I am just wondering, this cosmic energy, when we sit for Anapanasati meditation, cosmic energy, whether thoughts come or not, it will be entering into our system, or it is only in that deep state when zero state of thoughts is there?
Yes. When you're in your empty mind, we're allowing the cosmic energy, we're allowing the energy to flow through.
And
right?
this one, solutions happening and thoughts.
So that's all mind at work, right? So we said going beyond mind. So in Buddhist practices, they have something called analytical meditation, like exactly what you said, right? So that meditation is purely to get into a state and then bring a problem, and then you analyze the solutions and all that. So that's a different thing. Whereas in Anapanasati, our goal is to kind of get into that empty mind. So any thoughts, that is not the time for solving, not the time for insights. You just keep letting go, and then get into that empty state.
Pranam, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And there was a question on connecting to as well, right? So what do you connect to? You connect to your inner intelligence. And that is what traditionally, typically all of us have that inner intelligence. All of us are born with that factory settings. Unfortunately, because of the layer of the mind, we are not able to connect to it and act from it. So in meditation and through meditation practices, once the mind gets cleared, we are connecting to the real chitta, right? With the intelligence that we are born with. Otherwise, it's kind of clouded with a lot of other things. So we get connected to that and we start acting our true self, acting from our intelligence.
Thank you, sir. So we have 2 more hands. I think we will end with these 2 questions. One is Ms. Saujanya Rao.
Good morning, sir. I was first time introduced to the concept of pain body. I have one question. I have 2 questions. One question, isn't that by having this saying that it's not me, it's not my pain, it's my pain body, we lose accountability of things, number one. And second thing, I do understand a lot of time we say that ego is negative, but don't you think there is a positive aspect for ego? Because some of us working in offices and all, it isn't all that wrong, because if you don't have a certain system in place, there are chances of you being taken for granted, or the system, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, that people misuse your this thing. So these are my 2 questions. So
Yeah. So Yes, very good questions. I mean, all of us come from similar corporate backgrounds, and there are things to do. In fact, someone earlier also, one of the earlier class asked, does it mean that I should just forgive anyone if anyone is doing wrong, or should I just forgive, right? So the answer is yes. So there is a sense of accountability. We need to get things done, and there is a reason for us to be angry. I'm trying. I think you are getting to that. When I feel angry, should I not express my anger? When some things go wrong according to some system, should I not set right? So yes, the answer is yes, you should do that. But what the pain body does and what the ego does is it attaches negative emotions to it. You suffer, right? And if you look at enlightened people, I've seen Patriji like that, they do become angry, they do want to enforce certain systems, but they don't take it to heart. We say don't take it to heart, don't suffer. Oh, this person did not has been doing this job. For example, it could be a subordinate. Oh, I've been telling him 10 times he's not been doing this job, right? Now, you don't get into that mechanism of feeling bad or feeling he's not doing, because of that, I am going to be shown in bad light. So you don't get to that feeling. That the feeling is again that negative energy, that is a pain body. But you still act from your intellect, right? You still act, okay, this is what it is. Then you go back and say, what is happening? You analyze without the emotions. Same thing, I think Patanjali talks about those 5 kleshas. Any thought without fear, greed, ignorance, hatred, and then ego. Any thought that doesn't involve any of these is a right thought, right? So you still can do it, but without feeling that. And that is what very similar translating into the pain body language. As long as you're not acting from your pain body, you're acting clearly with your thoughts, with your intellect, that is fine.
Thank you, sir. We'll take one last question from Dr. Jia. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, sir. And good morning to everyone. And my question is in furtherance to the first question, which was asked, that how to cleanse our chitta. And you said that it is through meditation. But how permanent it is? I don't find it permanent. Like for that moment, we are relieved of the stress and we forget those pressures that we have. But as soon as we enter into non-meditative state, it starts reappearing again. So how can we make it permanent, or how long it takes to be permanent?
Okay, so good question, ma'am. So we'll probably cover that topic sometime later. There are different stages of meditation, right? And as I said, calming, cleansing, and connecting to your intuition, all this happen as we go deep into meditation. And it's later. So the point that you're talking about is just calming, right? Calming is temporary. Right. So like you said, so I sit in meditation, it calms, everything's wonderful. Immediately I go out, step out of the room, interact with someone, then I still get back the trust. So that just means we are in the calming stage, right? So when we do the cleansing, the actual thing vanishes, the actual emotion, the actual negative energy vanishes. And that happens in deep meditation. So after that, the same situation you get in, you will not react the same way that you used to do, right? So there are 4 stages of mindfulness. We'll cover that in one of the later sessions. So when cleansing happens, it is not temporary, it is permanent, right? In deep meditation, cleansing of emotions that you gathered or beliefs that you gathered in this lifetime happens. In really deep meditation, cleansing of past samskaras, past fears, past things also happen, right? There's a science behind it. I mean, both the yogic science as well as Buddhist scriptures talk about that. We'll see if we can cover some of that in a later class. All right.
Thank you so much, sir. And Dr. Jia, I know we have one more of your pending question, which we'll take up later. I think it's already close to 7:30. We took stretched a bit only because it's Saturday and Sagar sir is there. So we thought we'll take the maximum wisdom from him. So shall we conclude the session, sir?
Yes.
So thank you all very much. We had a beautiful day 9 today, and wish you all very good day and good evening in the US. And we'll all look forward for another session tomorrow. Until then, have a nice time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, dear friends. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. See you later.